Satoro Gojo is going to be shaking in his seal right now because Jujutsu Kaisen has dropped a nuke on our community because what it has revealed has changed his ally Maki Zenin forever. Not only has the reincarnation of Satoru Gojo's killer fully manifested, but he has also been surpassed. Maki has finally ascended into a special grade sorcerer, and frankly, a lot of you are confused on how it happened.
I'm confused!
Maki Zenin is the living embodiment of Toji's reincarnation. Both are the worst nightmares imaginable within any prestigious Jujutsu family. Maki Zenin is the first person to achieve one of the goals of Satoru Gojo's dream, which is for his friends to become a special grade sorcerer just like him. But to claim this title, we must explain how it happened. In chapter 197 sumo match, Maki became a completely different person. Even the story declared it. The energy she gives off is even noticed by Daido, the old badass samurai who took away Maki's sword, teaching her a lesson, all because the plot decided she needed self-realization. Please keep in mind Maki was a weapon specialist since childhood due to her lack of curse energy, yet Daido still called her unworthy.
I'm not gonna cry, but it really
However, a couple of sumo matches later, not just Daido, but even Maki herself felt much more confident and focused because she finally understood what she is capable of, which is a complete monster who can destroy any domain, making her a powerful character that helps face Sukuna's resurrection, which will occur at the end of the culling game. This change is a huge contrast to earlier in her fight against Naoya. So you might wonder, how the hell did she suddenly get so strong? That's where I come in. Let the class begin.
Now what we've just mentioned sounds exciting, right? Well, not as exciting as having a bespoke box delivered right to your door! Bespoke Post is a monthly membership club that sends you awesome items including but not limited to outdoor gear, bar and homeware, kitchen goods, clothes, and even live oysters. Each box is worth around $70, but this is the cool part. You don't have to pay anywhere near that amount. They were super cool and sent me these boxes, and one of my favorites has to be the Weekender box. This bag is a perfect getaway bag that's made to last. Built with durable cotton canvas, thick leather handles, and a reinforced frame. I mean, just look at this. It oozes style and practicality. And with summer ending and winter fast approaching, you may like the Hibernate box. This box comes with comfortable soft leather cabin slippers and a aerosol freshener to keep any room smelling nice. Each member is introduced to cool new products based on a preference quiz you fill out. You can preview your box each month to see if the goods insights are quite right for you. And if they're not, you can simply swap it out for another box. It's free to become a member, and for whatever reason you feel like skipping a month of or even canceling, you can easily do that at any time. The best part of it all is that by clicking the link below and using our code ABD20 at checkout or going to bespokepost.com/ABD20, you can save 20% off of your first box.
Maki was initially getting slapped around by Naoya as she kept comparing herself to Toji Fushiguro's tremendous strength at Shibuya. Maki felt she paled in comparison despite her sister's sacrifice, removing the final remnants of curse energy from her soul, making her just like Toji Fushiguro. So rather than fighting physically, she was fighting a mental battle with herself, because not too long ago she had lost her twin, along with, you know, the simple thing that she's still a high school girl who has faced nothing but oppression her entire life. She's 16!
Y'all killing me with this!
Maki was literally fighting against her oppressor in the form of Naoya. She had turned into a mass murderer by wiping out the Zenin clan. As fair as it was to her and Mai, it wasn't the most noble thing to do, making it a traumatic event that lingered in her mind. The fact that it was Jujutsu itself that drove her into a corner is a tale we've seen earlier too, be it Suguru Geto or Nanami. It's the fate of a sorcerer to suffer under the wheel of Jujutsu. It's a cruel job to have, and Maki's experience is no different. She was physically free to reach her potential, but mentally and emotionally she's still tethered to the past and couldn't see the present. Jujutsu Kaisen's story has repeatedly told us that unhealthy attachment to the past is a twisted concept that drags a sorcerer down. For example, Maki's shackles are much like Itadori, who had an ongoing battle with the Shibuya incident. Sukuna's mass murder is something he feels responsible for, and during his battle with Higuruma, this trauma also hindered him as a sin in his heart until he was deemed innocent. Every sorcerer parallels each other in their journey to enlightenment, catching up to Satoru Gojo's idealistic aim to reform society. Gojo's ideology of erasing the societal constructs of clans and status hints that the past is what usually leads to the downfall, making them weak and vulnerable, something that a Jujutsu sorcerer cannot afford on the battlefield where everything is on the line. Ironically, Gojo's sealment was also successful only because a part of him was still stuck in his 3 years of high school. The very second he lost track of the present and delved into the past with Suguru Geto, he was already doomed to be sealed. Their bond was so powerful that Geto's body responded to seeing Gojo, which was the first time this has ever happened in the 1000 years that Kenjaku has been taking over people's bodies. So, true Jujutsu is unleashed only when the sorcerer lets go of any inhibitions whatsoever and simply embraces the moment in front of them. No strings attached. This is what freedom means and what Maki was lacking. Jujutsu Kaisen's story has told us that there's a certain selfishness that sorcerers require in battle that fuels their killing intent. For example, Satoru Gojo had also taught this lesson to Megumi. Now, whilst Maki had this during her annihilation of the Zenin clan, it fizzled away and let her be tossed around by the cursed Naoya. Without a free mindset, sorcerers can't see the full picture of a fight and become tunnel visioned on their opponent. Maki was seeing only Naoya, her opponent, instead of herself, her weapon, and even something as easy to miss as the movements of air. All this while she was fully capable of doing so with her enhanced senses. This is why Maki was defeated in her bout against Miyo, despite his admission he would have lost if he had fought her head on. But Miyo's words were an important lesson for Maki to focus on the bigger picture. This is similar to how in chapter 37, Todo made Yuji Itadori understand that he has to think of his entire body as one unit instead of separate parts, just like it exists in the universe. We can understand Miyo's lesson as a vagabond quote: "Preoccupied with a single leaf, you won't see the tree. Preoccupied with a single tree, you miss the entire forest." Remember, Jujutsu Kaisen sorcery stems from Buddhist practices and tradition, as Master Tengen, the oldest sorcerer from 1200 years ago, mentioned its branch stems from its tree.
Don't think. Feel.
We even see an image of sunshine shining through the forest, like Maki's mind finally getting clear of all the darkness. Maki's freedom is also represented by birds taking a flight, as we see in chapter 149. Mai's death physically freed Maki from restrictions, allowing her to act upon her instincts, and in chapter 196, Maki finally won her mental struggles. And through this accomplishment, she became the most powerful version of herself, who could finally see all that was going on in a fight. She became absolutely broken, just as Toji Fushiguro was.
Congratulations.
The new Maki we're presented could kick Naoya's ass because rather than looking only at him, she was responding to the slightest change in the air as well, which allowed her to dodge a massive attack from this sped up curse. Mind you, in the past chapters, we have come to know that Naoya had reached Mach 3, which is 2,223 miles per hour, which means Maki's reflexes have scaled to a special grade level because she finally understood the feeling of seeing everything all at once, therefore fulfilling Satoru Gojo's goal for his students to become overpowered just like him. Maki's counterattack even broke through Naoya's armor, which is even more durable than Hanami. This feat already places her in some of the strongest characters when it comes to raw hand-to-hand combat and durability. Not only is her speed and reflexes at a special grade category by surpassing Mach 3, but her strength is as well, since the guidebook confirmed Hanami's durability scales higher than Jogo, a cursed spirit who is equal to 8 fingers of sukuna. Therefore, Maki is now someone that can take on Jogo, Hanami or Dagon on her own now, matching the feats Toji Fushiguro did in his resurrection. The final clash between Maki and Naoya answered this very question. The incredible display in chapter 198 proves that she is. Naoya had more evolutions than Goku did, and all of them are powered by sheer misogyny and his superiority complex. However, Naoya's final form surprisingly resembles his old self once again. Maki's speed boost angered him so much that he remembered the core reason of his anger towards her, which was his inability to stand alongside Satoro Gojo and Toji Fushiguro as pinnacles of power within the Jujutsu world, and Maki has now. She's one of them. This caused Naoya to unlock his temporal womb moon palace domain expansion in chapter 198. Naoya's domain is related to his original projection sorcery FPS rule, but instead of restricting the body as a whole object to 24 FPS, temporal womb moon palace domain impacts each and every cell of a person's body. This throws off the alignment of the cells, tearing them apart. In a way, it is similar to Mahito's domain, where everything that the domain touches is its territory and the sure hit attack will impact them. Well, my dost, as we said, the heavenly restriction is an anomaly, and since now Maki has zero curse energy, the rules of Jujutsu governing domains considers her to be the same as an inanimate object like a building. This means that she cannot be trapped in a domain unless either of the two conditions are fulfilled. Number one, the domain expansion itself uses a physical barrier, like Megumi used a gymnasium to trap Reggie in chapter 170. The second condition is Maki herself agrees to the rules of the domain and enters it, an example being Toji back in chapter 73, where he willingly answered its question to break free. These two conditions mean that Maki is free of any domain expansion for the most part, unlike in Shibuya when she was trapped because she still had a small amount of curse energy. Maki being able to go in and out most domains is extremely broken, as it outsmarts the strongest form of curse techniques in the Jujutsu world. No matter how strong the sure hit attacks are of a domain, Maki is simply above it, all because of her zero curse energy. And you know what the manga did to show off her brand new ability and make her the best female protagonist we've seen in modern shonen lately? Maki replicated a Toji Fushiguro moment from chapter 70. That shit was fire! As Maki stealthily appeared behind Naoya within his domain, she shoves her sword right through him, just like Toji had stabbed Satoro Gojo. We also then come to learn the hidden power behind Maki's sword. All along, it wasn't just any overpowered manifestation Mai created. Rather, it was something even greater. Back in her own spatial domain, Maki meets her sister once again, who explains that she wanted to show Maki that she could really destroy it all. This apparition of Mai also confirms some part of her is still alive, with Maki through her sword. As she stated, even if she had to be wielded by a old geezer, as if she is the sword itself, right? Either way, the biggest reveal is the sword Mai had created, as it was actually a replica of the sword Toji had used in chapter 71, called the Soul Liberation Blade, which Akatami himself also priced at 500 million yen, by the way. Guys, you see, I give little tidbits of information you didn't know. That's why you should become a Chad and hit the notification bell for our channel, because we cover Jujutsu Kaisen quite regularly, and you should join our community so we stay on the same page. The point I'm making is that the price of 500 million definitely tells you that it was something special for Toji to be wielding it. The sword can cut through anything, regardless of its hardness, and directly impacts the soul. We already know that soul and body is a huge concept in Jujutsu Kaisen, so Maki using a weapon that can cut down souls to harm bodies is an insane addition to the team, because this also means as long as she uses this sword, she can exercise any curses even though she possesses no curse energy, right? It is the perfect plot device to go up against Sukuna himself, as his resurrection is the final conclusion of the culling game, confirmed by Kenjaku himself in chapter 187. The special properties of this weapon will allow Maki to damage the strongest sorcerer in history, no matter how high Sukuna's defense scales. As a result of this overpowered ability in her sword, Maki completely obliterates Naoya and his domain, which marked the birth of the God of War, ladies and gentlemen. A befitting title for Maki, becoming the reincarnation of Toji himself. Maki, while she has the mindset of freedom, she fights for the correct cause, unlike Toji Fushiguro, who became a notorious sorcerer killer. He chased after money and abandoned the honest life of a Jujutsu sorcerer, which came back to bite him in the ass because he eventually got tangled up with his own pride and died with it. Remember, Toji died because of his pride, and that was the reason he lost to Satoro Gojo. In contrast, Maki knows what is at stake, which is her friends, who have supported her unconditionally. Moreover, the past few chapters have confirmed that she has moved past her thirst for revenge, and since we know she's Gojo's disciple, she won't abandon her friends for personal gain. Rather than bonds holding a sorcerer down, it's the opposite with this current generation of sorcerers, as they rely on each other to survive, which is a huge part of Gojo's dream. You should go watch our video regarding how strong is Maki now, because the final battle is just around the corner, and it's very important to understand the story right now. Go ahead and watch it.